Hi, I'm Harold Riegler, producer at Dedelic Entertainment, and today I'm happy to reveal some exciting details about our upcoming game, The Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Gollum has always fascinated us. While being completely essential to the story written by J.R.R. Tolkien, Gollum's long chase for his precious ring has never been told in detail. Yet his incredible journey from Mordor through Mirkwood to the mines of Moria takes players to places they haven't seen like this before, while setting the stage for events that will ultimately decide the fate of all of Middle-earth. Gollum has pretty much traveled everywhere. He's also pretty much met everyone, and by looking at events from his angle, players will experience Middle-earth through the eyes and twisted mind of one of the most iconic characters of all time. All of that in our very own artistic style. From his time in the slave pits of the Dark Tower to his stay with the Elves of Mirkwood, Gollum will creep, sneak, and trick his way past faithful, detailed environments, some of which have never been seen before in such detail. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a cinematic stealth action adventure. It mixes stealth and parkour gameplay and really leverages Dedelic's expertise in crafting engaging stories. Gollum is no traditional hero. He's learned not to take any sides other than his own, and some of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth want him either captive or dead. In the game, you will meet some iconic characters, but also interesting personalities less known to players, but nonetheless essential to the events unfolding. We've been highly faithful to the descriptions in the books, depicting, for instance, the Moth of Sauron, the Lieutenant of Barad-dûr, who is constantly scheming on behalf of his Dark Lord. In the game, we will see his face for the first time, but also Thranduil, King of the Elves of Mirkwood, father of Legolas, and last but not least, Gandalf the Wizard. We're all super excited to be working on this amazing project, and we can't wait to show you more. Stay tuned on social media at Gollum Game.
Once there was an explosion. A bang which gave rise to life as we know it. Then came the next explosion. An explosion that will be our last.
Sam, I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Rebuilding America isn't gonna get rid of the BTs.
But at least we'll have hope.
I'm a porter. I don't care about connecting anything.
You see, I've come to understand the truth of the Death Stranding.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
PlayStation.
Hey up, how do? Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. It's a bit earlier this week, folks. I do apologise. Hello to everyone in chat. Hello to everyone watching this back because JR did this early. Basically, we're off down south, so I need to do today's early and not have one on Sunday because we're away. So apologies for that, but we have had, let's be honest, our longest, most consistent run of streams from JRDF ever. So it's not too bad. I think we've done like 13, 14 in a row now, twice a week, which is pretty awesome. And since we've got affiliate, we've carried on. So that's cool. So what are we up to this week? I've put a new camera here, so I've got zooming abilities and all this kind of stuff, so I shouldn't spend as long yelling at my camera, which will be awesome. Artwork has arrived. Let's start with artwork. Artwork has arrived. So the 1 to 500 dioramas have already been signed off as models. The artwork was signed off, and we obviously, once it was signed off, sent it off to the printers. Now we have got 2 different size diorama packs now. So that's one thing. The proofs have just arrived today, so we need to cut them out, check they fit, and glue the front and the back together so that we can send these off as final proofs to CIG of the whole thing. So actually use these
JR
proofs.
might be a dickhead, but apparently he's got some great friends.
Jewel Ledger, thank you very much for the Prime sub there. Thank you very much indeed. Do indeed have some great friends. So we need to cut these out. We need to check that check it all fits, glue them together back to back, just as this sample, and then basically send it as a sample to CIG. So we're going to just crack the hell on with that. So in no particular order, let's start with the Max. I did put a new blade in my... I could do with a ruler, couldn't I? That would be awesome. One. Ein Moment. Since I've got one right there, let's do it right. I mean, obviously there's a pink line on this. The pink line is the cut line that the die cut will be done for the thing. So obviously this first one, there'll be a bit of the pink line left over, but they expect that. They're aware that this is a hand cut option here. Let's make these better on shot. Don't know what it's like for everyone out there. It is warm today. I won't say hot. It's hot for me, but I'm not going to insult anyone lurking in the US. This is hot for Scotland. This is not hot. There'll be people yelling at me if I claim that that what I'm experiencing now is hot. So I'm not even going to pretend. It's hot in this room though. I must say I might have to look at aircon for this room, because with 7 3D printers kicking off heat, plus my rig, plus the other rig that's over there, plus the laser, when the laser's running, god, that kicks some heat out. All of that combined, yeah, it's not great from a point of view of warming up the rooms. Probably 3 kilowatts worth of heating in here, effectively. So that's not assisting in the me feeling warm stakes. So yeah. Camera's a little dark. I'll just tweak the camera while we're here. It's a little dark, isn't it? Let's just go into its settings. I say it does work better as a desk cam, just because I need to add it as a filter. I'm sorry. It does work better as a desk cam, just because it's got a better zoom. It's so much for a better zoom. What do I need to do? It's under that, isn't it? So let's just up the gamma a little bit, up the contrast a little bit, up the... No, we don't really want to up the brightness, that'll do. Just looks a little bit more excitable there. So unlike all of our other dioramas that we've done, the 1 to 200s and the 1 to 100 weapons, these do actually require build instructions. So one side will be obviously the front, and the other side is the build instructions. Obviously not hugely complicated build instructions. Let's not pretend these are difficult to put together. But they are complicated enough that they do require a quick little build instruction sheet on the inside here. Now, obviously, once we've determined that these are fine and that they fit and everything, we can actually pull the trigger on the printers. They usually take about 10 days to get stuff to us. So that's those two. Let's just zoom this a little bit. Let's grab a clamshell. So this is a larger clamshell for the Macs. We'll just pop these in like that. Yeah, I'll just put a little bit of foam in just so I can see what it's going to look like. Yeah, no, I'm happy with that. I mean, the fit we expected the fit to be good because we'd done a test and lasered it and all the rest of it. That looks sweet. I like it. I like it. So let's glue those together. Just a bit of paper glue. This is nothing particularly technical. And so it's just so that we've got a. Let's not do them the wrong way around. That is maybe the least sticky glue in the world. Yes, it is. That is dried out and useless. Double-sided tape it is then. Double-sided tape it is. That's fine. At the end of the day, this, I say, it's just to show the guys at the CIG merch team. So they've got a prototype effectively. And they are aware that that this artwork is not the actual artwork. This is just our proofs. But it does just allow us to get that off to the US, because these have got to go to the US for sign off. So any time we can save at this point. Takes a couple of days to a week to get stuff to the US from the UK, so by the time they get it and see it, our artwork's pretty much on our doorstep, so that's cool. Right, so we've got our build instruction, our front card, so that's fine. So I think that's cool. So we now need a back card. Oh, I've not pre-trimmed the back ones. Let me get them. So it's very technical. I think this is borderline making. Making a bloody mess of it. I don't think we're going to have enough of these. That's fine. I'll just have to use their imagination for one of them. Sure, they'll be fine. These are all the same. These are just the legal notices and the thank you on the back. So they don't need to see a different one in each one. I mean, we get on very well with the merchandise team at CIG. Obviously, we've been working quite closely with them for a while now. So there is a lot of hoops to jump through, because these are all official products and what have you. So, there are hoops to jump through. That's to be expected. I'm just going to see if I can do these with the scissors. Because these are quite nice and long scissors. Especially because these back ones have little squared off corners. Which does make it a little bit easier. So we have this on the inside, just a thank you. We are a small company and we really appreciate your support, which is lovely and very true. We then have to have the 3,000 legal notices on the back side, which is par for the course, of course. all of the little R's and everything. Drives me nuts. Okay, so that's what you actually see on the back. The right way up would be good. That's what you actually see on the back. So it's got all the Made in Britain logos, the RSI logos, Star Citizen logos, our logos, websites, yada 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 yada. So lots of that sort of tomfoolery. Right. So let's see. Let's check that sits in the back. Okay. Yeah, happy with that. So let's glue those together. I'll tape those together anyway. Yeah. Come on, tape. It's really weird double-sided tape because it doesn't have any peel-offs. Just it's a Scotch tape, but just literally on a roll. It's quite handy for little crafty projects like this. There we go. Oops, that way up. Let's not get it backwards. Okay, right. So let's pack our first kit. Right, so that in there with that facing that way. Doing Freelancer Max, so foam goes in. Shall go and grab a Freelancer Max. So these Freelancers come in 2 parts, plus we also need a stand, and we need a little base. So there's 4 bits. So we've got a little base that goes on that cutout there, an upstand goes in there. We've then got our engines and our fuselage section. So that all fits in there quite nicely. Put our instructions on. Check it all fits. It's a fairly tight packet, just because I would have preferred it if this this clamshell had been like a millimeter or 2 more. So with the 25mm foam, it is a bit tight, but it's fine. It closes, it snaps together. Oh, we need a decal. Oh, I wonder whether I've got them up here. Cal's might have them downstairs. Disaster. Yeah, I don't think I've got them up here, so we'll have to add those later. We shall add those later, that'll be fine. So that's Freelancer Max, so number 1 is done. Let's put that to one side. What shall we do next? What shall we do next? Another Freelancer. The Freelancer Dur. Let's do the Dur. Let's do the Dur. Yeah, to be honest, this is such nice paper that they've done the proofs on. It's actually easier just to do this with scissors. So I got new resin. New resin has arrived for doing the casting of the Carrack bridges. For those of you who been keeping up with the various trials and tribulations of casting this Carrack bridge, which is looking awesome now. It really is looking nice. Have you had many or any requests for Freelancer Miss? Yes. I mean, I genuinely don't think that there is a ship that we haven't had requests for. So the Freelancer Miz in 1 to 500 is in our next, is in our Q4 release. The reason it didn't make this one is I'm going to have to specifically do it for 1 to 500 because I've not done a 1 to 200. We've got all the other 3 in 1 to 200. We sort of go with the models on popularity. I think people might actually come round here to my house and lynch me if I do any more freelancers, because all of the 1 to 200 models are freelancers at the moment. And yeah, it's one it's one of those things that it's like I'm a big freelancer fan, I'm a big MISC fan. So, and I started doing this very much as a hobby project for myself. I mean, we already had the license to do like furniture merchandise and stuff, but the models were a new thing basically after we did the big Kraken model that, for CitizenCon that we needed all the dioramas for, so we ended up buying 3D printers for that project, and then we had some 3D printers lying around with nothing to do, so I started doing these models very much for as a hobby project, with always the intention that we would request to be allowed to manufacture these small batches of them. I won't pretend that we have made a bit of a disaster of that. Let's do that again. I won't pretend that the intention wasn't always to ask to be able to do them. It obviously was. I sadly don't have that much free time just to be able to go, oh yeah, I'll be just here's 1,000 hours just to work out how to make kit models. Wish I did, but yeah. So we the Freelancer Miz is not a ship I have ever owned in game. I guess because I'm not a combat person at all. Which is no excuse for not doing. As I say, a lot of these initial models that we've done have been very much a case of the models I like. We have started. The reason we did the Arrow was because Noodle, Moist Noodle, lived with us at the time, and his favorite ship was the Arrow. So that's why we did the Arrow, because we thought, well, we should do a combat ship. The Carrack has obviously been asked for since the day dot, which is why we eventually got around to doing it. And then, so other ships that we've announced in 1 to 500, we're doing the Mantis, the Gladius, the Mantis, Gladius, MSR. These are in the dioramas. What else do we have? Freelancer Miz is in the next batch. Let's say there's a. Oh yeah, Vanguard, Sabres, yeah, they're all in the next this sort of diorama raft, and the next 1 to 500 kit model, which is coming out end of this year, is the Hercules. So the MSR and the Hercules will be kind of coming out together, which is quite nice. The great joy and annoyance for us of Star Citizen is just so many goddamn ships, and they're all awesome. And this is one of the reasons that we are really pushing the 1 to 500s at the moment as a scale, because yeah, okay, these non-big ships are pretty small as models, but it does mean that we can go through and do all of the models in Star Citizen, all of the ships. Right, so next box. Obviously that is the same, so that can go in. We now need the foam. It's already in a box here. Freelancer. So we'll need another base. Let's give it a quick polish. Let's give it a quick polish. So that's in there. Right, so we need Freelancer Dur. She'll just run over here and grab Freelancer Durs. We have an awful lot of boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff absolutely everywhere. Right, engines, bodies. Let's grab the freelancers while we're here as well, just so I don't keep having to get my arse up. Apologies for the chair stream. Just grab a freelancer. There we go. So grab those and a couple of bases. A couple of upstands, I should say. There we go. Right. So, these parts in. So, stand. What we're doing, the Dur, aren't we? Let's not put the wrong ones in. So that's the Dur engines in. And that is the Dur body in, so that's cool. Now we can put the front artwork in. Oh, that one's tight, isn't it? There we go. Super. So that's Freelancer Dur. So that's the Max and the Dur. Love the artwork. So the artwork, these are all Captain Raoul and Hasgahar have done the screenshots for us, which is fantastic. I am loving the Ram Fox 89. Hello there. How are you, good sir? Right, next. What's next on the list? We should do all the freelancers first, shouldn't we? Let's do the next freelancer. So we have got a standard freelancer. We have got a standard freelancer. So let's do that one next. All the instructions are pretty much the same. I mean, so basically, just to quickly run through the instructions, you basically got the top one is how to put it in flight mode, and the bottom one is how to put it in landed mode. It's basically just putting the body together and deciding which landing gear you're going to use, because you've got options of landing gear, whether you want it in flight or landed, depending on what your need for the ship is. So yeah, right. I must admit, I'm pleased with how these have come out. I really am. We didn't really know. We had no long-term plans going back the way of doing ships this small. I think it's very much a case of the materials that are now available have brought them into the realms of possibility. The ABS-like Tough 2000 resin that Formlabs have brought out that we're using for these models is just phenomenal. Really is just phenomenal and perfect for this sort of application. So it's been an absolute godsend for being able to do these models, without a doubt. So let's see. These are just the artwork proofs, so they fit fine. So we can let our printers know that this pink, the pink line you see on this artwork is basically the die cutting line that we need to just check it's fine before they make the dies for it. So also we've got to pay them to create the dies, and then we'll obviously print these double-sided on a. I think it is technically still a paper. It's not quite to. I know. I suppose it is like a playing card thickness, weight paper. We won't put one on the back on this one so we don't actually have enough. Get this box. This one has white lasered bits of paper in it, which is how I actually determined the size. To put that aside, we've not got enough of the back ones to do all of them. So just because they only sent us 4 proofs of that. And a base. And a stand. Excellent. Instructions in. Sweet. So that's the Freelancer. Cutlass Black now, I think. Cutlass Black. It's always very exciting when the artwork comes. It's kind of makes it real. I'll never forget when we did the PTV, our first model, when that artwork came through the door, and it was like made it real. I know we'd physically got the models. Bizarrely, the models itself didn't make it feel as real as actually having the artwork, because we hadn't made the artwork. We designed it, but someone else had manufactured it, someone else had printed it. So it's like, ooh, it just felt so real, so professional. So yeah. And boxes of hundreds of them. It sort of suddenly made you realize, oh, holy fuck, we've got a lot of these to make. And at the time, we'd never done this sort of thing before. We'd never done what's called D2C, direct to customer product. We'd just been an events company and having 2 or 3 clients a year doing huge things. So to actually start doing stuff that we're making hundreds of rather than one of, it was a big learning curve leap. It really was. And we're still learning, still making it better, still making mistakes, still failing forward. And we're certainly getting quicker. We're certainly getting quicker both in the design phases and in the kind of sign-offs and we know where the mistakes can happen now, so we're sort of more conscious of, right, okay, if we mess this up, it will cost us a lot in time, and time is very much money. I always obviously understood that phrase, but oh my god, you realize how much time is money when you're dealing with product, because every delay that pushes your product a week down the line, a month down the line, that is money that you should have had in your pocket a month ago, a week ago. So not making mistakes like that is something that you obviously want to avoid. So we're just going to put some more magnets in the Carrack if we have time today. And that's the final bit for John Crew, so we'll go through the box in a minute. So finish the box for him, so that's cool. So that will be sent off for him to hopefully see that and sign that off while we're away, which would be awesome. Nice to come back to that being signed off. The artwork for the Carrack is still being finished off. Once we've got the sign off from John Crew for the actual model, we can start producing it. So although we've not got the sign off, we've not got the artwork ready to submit yet, doesn't kind of slow up the whole process, because it's going to take quite a long time to actually manufacture the Carracks. We've sort of got an idea of wanting to put 100 on the shelf, which is more than we've ever put on the shelf before, but this may well be the most popular model we've ever done. So starting off with 100 does seem to be, a not unrealistic number to have. What we don't want to do is obviously produce too many to start off with, because it's a huge amount of cost for us, but we also don't want to make too few, because then there's loads of people that want to support us and get the Carrack of their dreams, and they're having to wait for us to manufacture, and there being a month delay, and it's like we don't do pre-sale anymore for that reason. We don't want to take people's money until we've got something to give them. Right, okay, Cutlass Black. So let's grab a Cutlass Black. Let's cut this black. We'll get a red as well while we're here. And I need some engines. There we go. And some upstands. Okay. Any chance of a javelin model? Yes, we are going to do a javelin model. We have actually made one before for CIG. We did a javelin model for their reception in Winslow. The javelin will be in 1 to 500 though. I'm not doing another scale beyond 1 to 500, so it's going to be humongous. The reason for that is that any scale beyond 1 to 500, realistically, you're not going to be able to have a lot of detailing that I would like to have on. These smaller ships, these dioramas, that's upside down. These smaller ships and dioramas, if these were in, say, 1 to 1,000, you wouldn't be able to even have arrows and all that kind of stuff. And one of the joys of doing the 1 to 500 scale ships is so that we can actually have people's fleet all lined up in a one. Do you know what I mean? That's the dream for that. So the 1 to 500 javelin is going to be huge. But yes, it's definitely on the list. How many we'll make, I don't know. We won't make 500 of them, that's for sure, because it's going to be, God, I don't even know how to predict how much it would cost. It requires us to have 1 to 500 Bengal. How big would that be? Fucking huge. 2 meters, something like that. 2 meters long. 1.5 meters wide. Certainly not the biggest ship we've ever built, but it's more of an installation than a kit model. I say it's all these things are doable. The issue you have is when you're talking about these massive ships, I'm not saying for a moment that there aren't people in the Star Citizen community that wouldn't love a 1 to 500 Bengal or a 1 to 500 Javelin. We certainly have a lot of people ask for the Javelin. But realistically, how many are we ever going to sell? 42 seems like a reasonable number to go for on ships of that scale. So the design cost, which is colossal because it's, the bigger the ship in game and the bigger the model, the more design time is going to have to go in it. And then that design time is only going to be spread across 42 or 50 or 100 models rather than 500 models. So all of a sudden, when you think for our normal kit models, we're putting 600 to 800 hours sort of into the design and the market, the artwork and all the rest of it. If you've got that spread over only 100, starts to creep the price up something chronic. And you've probably got a couple of £100 worth of resin in it. We did the calculations today, interestingly enough, for the Carrack, and there is £32.50 of resin in the Carrack model, per Carrack model. So it's quite a big model. There's a lot of resin in her. But, if I could use my camera properly. But yeah. A lot of people have been asking for the pre-builts. It is something that we would like added to our license at some point. It's not on our license at the moment, so it's not something we can do. But it's certainly something I wouldn't be against in the future. I think the biggest problem with getting stuff pre-built and painted, even more than the price of the kit, it's that expectation of price. And what people hopefully understand is if we do manage to get, in the future, permission to do built and painted models, they're going to be built and painted in the UK by really amazing model painters. So that's probably takes a model painter 2 days to paint, say, a Carrack to a really high standard. So you're paying 2 days worth of wages for a skilled human being for to have that built and painted. So it's that hope that people will understand that that's added to the cost of the kit. So it's going to triple, quadruple the cost of the kit to have it built and painted, because we are actually paying actual salaries to people. Expecting my Arrow model today. Oh, excellent. With my first 3D printer kit model. Yeah, I mean, there's not many out there, is there? There's a guy in Germany who's doing SpaceX rockets as 3D printed kits, interestingly on the same printers that we use. That's how I know about him, because he was in the newsletter. And it's there's not many. To be honest, there's not many printers that can be used for actual production that'll run 24/7 really, really hard without not break and shit themselves when you ask them to print for 3 months literally without a break. Most hobbyist machines will be dead in a week. I think we put 15,000 hours on our printers last year. And when there is an issue with them, Formlabs deal with it. Pull 3 keys, evening. Carrack's looking awesome. Thank you very much. We're especially pleased with. So that's its ramp underneath. We'll just remove its ramp a second off its magnet. We're especially pleased with the lunacy that is the bridge on the Carrack, which is. Sorry, I've got loads of lights in this room, so it's not helping me. If you can see. I need to put something behind it that's white. There we go. So you can see there's the seats in there and everything, and like the middle deck and everything. So that's all cast into this nose. So this is a separate piece that has all the bridge and stuff cast inside it. So it comes like that, with it all cast inside. We're really pleased with that. It's the first time we've done that kind of casting. So. And it's taken a little bit of messing about. People who watch this stream will have seen us making silicon molds and casting them and failing, failing a few times, get it right. It's definitely been a learning experience. We actually have a new mold to show off today, a new master. So this is what will be the production master for those. So we'll look at that in a second. It's one of those things where we need to. Obviously need to practice just making the one at a time sort of thing, but that ain't gonna cut it for production, because it's an hour and a half in the pressure pot, and then 6 hours in an oven, and then another 4 hours to fully cool again. So it's effectively a day's worth of half a day, working days worth of work to do a single casting. So we need to make sure that we are going to be producing a significant number in each casting. So the idea with this is that it's a hexagonal pot this time. It's got 5 on it, and we can get 7 of those into our pressure pot. So we'll be casting 35 at a time, assuming 5 failures. Because a tiny bubble or whatever is going to be a failure on this one, we're hoping we'll get 30 good bridges out of each cast. So if we can manage to get in 3 a day, so the reason I say we can do 3, even though it takes a full day to do 1, is that it's only an hour and a half in the pressure pot. So once it's come out the pressure pot, you can put another set in the pressure pot. That will require us creating that many molds, and there's a sort of comes to the point where it's too costly to make 21 molds. is ridiculous, so we might just go with 14 to have 2 sets, so that would get us to hopefully getting 60 a day. So you're trying to find that kind of sweet spot really of what is the perfect number of molds. Spazzy McKee, what are we up to today? So, well, we've our artwork has arrived. So these are the proofs for the artwork for our 1 to 500 dioramas. So we are cutting them out by hand, so that we've basically got these sort of production prototypes to send to CIG for final sign off. So this is the Max, for example. So it's got its stand and its base and its pieces, and it's all its artwork and legal stuff. And thank you. And we're also going to be playing around with this beastie here, which is an anvil Carrack or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about Star Citizen. But yeah, so this is kind of in its very, very final stage. I've done drawing it now. We're still playing around with. Do you like the nose, Spazzy? I love the nose. It's actually got the bridge cast inside it. How ridiculous is that? But it's got all its cargo ramps, and so it obviously has a door that goes on that. So I've currently got it in flight mode. We need to put the cargo ceiling in there, and it's got all magnetic cargo pods and all this kind of stuff. So it's all there. I need to put the windows in it because all of these bits, you can see all these windows are open gap, so you can light from the inside. So there's little windows, these little windows here. So we've dyed. This is our first time where we've dyed the resin blue in the 3D printer, so that obviously the Carrack has a blue tint to everything. So yeah, so that's cool. You make pretty things. Thank you. We try our best. We do genuinely try our best to make the prettiest things. Right, so that's that. I need Cutlass Red, foam. It is crazy, isn't it? Yeah, and we've pushed the printers, and having this new resin, so compared to our original one, this is model resin, and this is tough resin for like the turrets and things. Allows us to get really, really good details on the turrets and stuff without these being really fragile, because the turrets are this equivalent to an ABS plastic that we're printing in for these, same material that we're printing the cutlasses in and stuff. You still get loads and loads of detail, still a lovely surface quality, but this stuff is so much tougher, hence the name. It's not as perfect a surface quality as the model resin, which is why we use the model resin for the large parts to get all of this lunacy in. Tough wouldn't be as good for that, but it just means that we've got those two together, that combination of tough and model, just so good. And that's not that we should have used it before and we didn't. It didn't exist before. These are brand new resins. We started using them. We started doing testing with them the week they came out. Formlabs contacted us and go, "We think you should use this," as people do when they launch new products. But it was like, yeah, we need to be. You've literally made a model, a resin just for us there, guys. So a little upstand, little base. I think this is what's actually holding. I don't think I've got these. Not actually got this pocket deep enough, and I think that this sitting slightly high is what's pushing the whole thing up. Cutlass Red. Look at all the dioramas! Aren't they so cool? These are our first big diorama, or medium dioramas, because the Mercury Star Runner is going to be an even bigger clamshell because it's even bigger. But that's the 5 big ones that are all coming out together. So that's cool. Yeah, not seeing any print lines. Yeah, the model resin is amazing, and don't get me wrong, these printers are amazing as well. And we have this conversation with people on our server. If you're not in our server, !Discord and chat, come and join our maker server and talk to lots of other makers doing all sorts of projects, including Star Citizen projects. The thing with this resin is £120 a litre, and these are £4,000 printers, and that's what you get when you combine those two. We get people asking, "Oh, well, you can do this to Formlabs printers, so you can put different resins in that are a lot cheaper." And it's like, yeah, but then the quality is not going to be as good. One of the reasons that it looks this good is because the resin is this good. This is an amazing resin that allows you to print like this, and amazing printers that allow you to print like this. If you spend all that money on a printer and then put shit resin in it, well, what are you doing? What's the point? It defeats the object. My turret fell out. So these are push fit turrets into the side here because I don't have the print. So there's different types of turret. Let's grab the turrets. The turrets obviously on the Carrack come out the side and spin around and stuff. They're too small to actually have them articulating. So our solution to that is basically to do a print like this. So this is the print that comes with the Carrack. So you actually get 6 side turrets. So you get these ones that we've got on it at the moment, which are the retracted ones. We've then got these guys who are all the way out and facing forward or backwards, depending on which way you put them in. Then we've got these guys who are kind of out at an angle and up 45 degrees and all that kind of stuff. So you can sort of pose them, pose them in and stuff. Yeah, the panel lines and stuff are amazing, aren't they? They really do come out. They really do come out so well. I mean, we have to draw all these panel lines back on ourselves. They don't exist in the geometry of the ship in game. It's all done with texture mapping, so we do actually have to redraw it all. The way we've approached the wings on this, these are on magnets, strong magnets. These are on 5mm by 2mm magnets. Because the landing gear is so complicated on the Carrack that we've just got 2 sets of wings, basically. So we've got a flight wing and a landed wing, or shields. I call them wings. Other people have called them shields, but I call them wings. And then, yeah, we've got the hangar in here. We've got a hangar door that magnetizes on. So we've got all the bits. We've got all the necessary, all the things that you need to make a whole Carrack. And I've lost my Carrack stick. We've even introduced a whole new thing called a Carrack stick, which is one of these, but I haven't got the one with my magnet in. So let's do. The magnets are awesome. I do like the magnets. So the Carrack has the first model we did with the magnets was the Arrow. It has 50 magnets, the Arrow, 3mm by 1mm, which is, a little challenging for people who have not done magnetizing models before. Obviously, this is a lot easier than the normal sort of like task of magnetizing a model because it's designed to be magnetized. In fact, the Carrack, there are so few steps in the Carrack that are actually glued. I haven't covered my keyboard in shite. We could look at this. So this is the actual. These are the renders for the Carrack instructions. These aren't actually the Carrack instructions. But yeah, so we have included clear and solid engines if you want to light the engines. But then most of this is about the magnets and which way to put them in, and it's just step after step of don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Do you know what I mean? Just like, there are so many magnets. Because everything's on magnets. The hangar doors, the landing gears, the ramp, and yeah, wings, everything. Just so much magnetization on this. Yeah. Well, so we do 2 things to help with the whole magnet thing. One, we have some cool tutorial videos. A friend of ours called Misha did some amazing tutorials which are on our YouTube site and on our website. And worst case scenario, we have a free spare parts policy. And I can tell you this right now, the vast majority of people who use our spare parts policy are because they glued the magnets in the wrong way. So it's not something that we criticize people over. We know this is complicated. The Carrack has 50 small magnets and 10 big magnets. This has 60 magnets in it, and this stick, this Carrack stick that we call it, this is for inserting the windows, the glass windows inside the model, so that you can build the model and paint it before you put these glass sections in for lighting it. So we have tried to think of everything, and this stick has a magnet in the end, which helps you take things on and off, and also helps you a little bit with the polarities and stuff like that. So we do try and think of as much as we can to make this easier for people. But yeah, that's all the bits, and none of that is glued together. That's all magnets and push fit that's coming together there to put it into landed mode, which is kind of cool. So you sort of put all those together and you have it in that mode, and then you put all that together and you have it in that mode. And obviously you can mix and match. You can have the turrets in different ways, and all that kind of stuff. But it's a lovely display model because you can have it in full flight mode, full landing mode. You have 2 Pisces with it, one in flight, one landed. You have an Ursa rover with it, so you can have it coming down the ramp. There's all the things. There's all the things that you've come to expect from one of our models. So, and we have pushed the Carrack. The Carrack is, I'd say, by far the most nth degree model we've done. Could argue the Cyclones are as well. The Cyclones were brutal too, just because the Cyclones had so many people with them. I mean, we had 6 different characters in the TR, which were awesome. They were probably one of my favorite bits of the Cyclone models, were all the people. Because 1 to 40 characters are amazing because they're slightly bigger than Warhammer miniatures. So they've got loads and loads of detail and character and personality to them, so it really shines through in 1 to 40. But yeah, magnets are awesome. Magnets are awesome. And it's interesting, I don't know whether it's an anvil thing, I guess we'll find out. When I look at anvil ships, I think it is an anvil thing. Like, you look at the Terrapin and stuff, and there's so much moves on that. Don't get me started on the Hawk. Like the Arrow is mainly held together by magnets, very little gluing. Carrack the same. So many magnets, very little gluing. Whereas other models like the Cyclones, no magnets. Like, literally no magnets in the Cyclones at all. And the Freelancers have 15 magnets for the whole lot. That's just all for landing gear. So the Anvil ships so far have been the absolute beasts when it's come to magnets. But as I say, we will do our best. We will do a specific building a Carrack video to show all the magnets and everything. Because, yeah, it's hard. If you've never done it before, it's difficult. But, it's one of those things. The key is just to don't rush it. Make sure you've marked all the magnets and just double, triple check before you glue them in, and don't try and one of the things I used to do before I got more au fait with magnets was I'd glue it in, and then it'd be like, oh well, just before the glue sets, just in case, I'll check it. And by checking it, I mean put a magnet against it, and of course it just pulls the magnet out before the glue sets. It's like, well, of course that's going to make it worse. Dumbass. It's just like, oh. So you live and learn. You get it right the first time. I say, the way we've done it in the instructions is by having the first step you do with the magnets is to mark all the ends of the magnets with a Sharpie. And then in the instructions it shows you whether the Sharpied side should be facing out or facing inward. And then that way, if you just follow the instructions, boom, everything's the right way around. And I say, just go. The Carrack tool is awesome. It started life just as a magnet stick because I don't know what I've done with the one with the magnet in. It's driving me nuts. I've got so many prints of it kicking around, but without magnets in. I've just got a stick of magnets I can show you the same trick with. Get a stick of magnets. So one of the things that is a slight issue with some of our models is the fact that has this even got a magnet in? Scalpel. Is this actually the one with the magnet in or not? Yes, it is. Right, okay, so you get bits like this hanger door. So imagine this is the carrot stick. So basically, yes, we're doing papercraft, Drew. So this is basically one of these magnets is stuck in the end of the stick. So it's doing the same trick as this. So some of these pieces, because they fit in like that, because they're so flush fitting, once you've got them painted especially, you don't want to be digging these things out with, fucking scalpel. So this is what this is for. It's for removing and placing these magnetized pieces so that you're not having to damage your model to get them in and out. And there was a couple of models like the Freelancer, its landing gear, its original Freelancer's landing gear was a bit like that. You kind of had to get your nail in and stuff. This was especially bad because there was so many of them. Because there was the hanger on the top and then the landing gear, not in this state, but when it's retracted, both that door and that landing gear, so tight fitting because they are, as they should be. So Drew, papercraft today. The artwork proofs have arrived for the diorama kits. So we are cutting, sticking and gluing like Blue Peter to get the final proofs ready to send to CIG before we go away. So it's a bit exciting, isn't it? To say the least. So yeah, we're having to glue them back to back because it's obviously all just one-sided proofs. Yeah, it's interesting. I say about garage kits is a phrase I understand. It's a very American phrase. I don't think it's something, perhaps because we just don't have them over here. I've never come across sort of UK-made ones. I say we're a bit of an odd company in that this wasn't what we sort of set out to do. We've obviously done a lot more of it than we were intending because it's keeping us busy through COVID. Because, you know, the events industry has been somewhat affected by COVID because of booking events. So it's all gone. So many companies have gone bust. I know of 3 that I've worked with over the years that are just all gone out of business. Some that were involved in CitizenCon, in fact, are now gone. So, you know, arrows. Let me go and get some models. So yeah, it's shit. There's no other way of putting it. It is absolutely shit because there are not enough. Like, so many events companies, and events companies don't really run on high margins at any points in their life. So to have 2 years, and of course events were the first things to get cancelled and will be the last thing to come back. So these massive arena tours and all this sort of stuff, the companies that actually put on those arena tours, a lot of them have gone bust. No amount of government money was going to keep them going because so many of the people are on, you know, short contracts and all this kind of stuff. Most of them have gone off and had to change careers, get other jobs if they can. You know, it's just not feasible to continue in that profession. Right, so we got the arrow here. So the way we've done the arrow as a diorama, the arrow is too small to be able to have, you know, interchangeable landing gears like we have with the other ones. And I thought, well, a single arrow is going to be a bit fucking piffly in a diorama kit, so you get 4 in the diorama kit. So you get 3 in flight, and 1 landed. So you can see that one there has its wings up and its landing gears out. Oh, camera. Landing gears out and stuff. So we've done it in that way. Yes. Tell me about your JREX. So JREX are our currency for our website. In fact, since we're talking JREX, let's do a quick giveaway. Let's give some away while we're talking about them. So JREX are our not our stream currency, our website currency. You earn them by setting up accounts and buying stuff and all that kind of fun stuff. So obviously we need to put 3 bases. These are little bases. We need to put 3 bases in with the arrows because there are 3 in-flight arrows. We need upstones. So the only thing you can currently spend them on at the moment is getting a personalized box. Other things that we want to be able to do, we've been musing about, is whether people want to choose the numbers on their boxes. I need to work out how that's going to work, because the issue we've got with that is that obviously we need to make sure that you can't end up... It's one of those things. Obviously, we can't give away 2 of the same number. So if someone requests a number that isn't available, we've then got to email them, and it's like, you know, all that kind of messing about. So we need to work out how that's going to work. Right. So that's the 3 upstands in there and 3 bases. So that is an anvil arrow. Boom. Add that to the pile. Last one. We need another small box. Ugh. There we go. So yeah, so we've got probably, yeah, I think that's going to be an annoying one, to be honest. So other options we've got of things that you can spend your JRX on. We've talked about artwork prints. So if you remember the artwork prints we did with Board Gamer, I have some here. So we did these cool artwork prints for the Invictus. They're quite big, but we did 4 different designs. So it will be to have more of these printed, not these designs, but to do some other designs, and have, I don't know, a dozen different artwork prints that you can spend your points on. And these will be things that you couldn't buy with real money. All these rewards are things that aren't available to buy. They're just available to buy with trading in your loyalty points. Yes, there's a little thing at the bottom. You get points for referring people, so if you encourage people to buy our products, you can give them your referral code, which you'll also find down there in that little rewards box. So the only thing on there at the moment to spend them on is the personalized boxes. But I say we're looking at artwork, we're looking at actual kind of JRDF pins and all that kind of lovely stuff. We kind of want to know what you want. I know it sounds stupid, but it's just like it allowed, like, especially with the artwork and stuff. What kind of artwork prints would you like from us? We can pretty much do anything from in game. We can also do stuff that Hasgahar and Captain Raoul and like really amazing screenshots, actually get them printed as artwork prints. So all that kind of stuff. Let us know what you want, and we will look to get them approved. Everything still has to go through CIG, obviously, but because we're not selling them, because it is for marketing purposes, i.e. Marketing reward points being interchanged for them, because you can't part with money and buy them. They're easier to get approved because hello Shadow Scout. They're easier to get approved because we've not got the issue with having to actually sell them. Still got all the legal notices and all that kind of stuff. They are still official licensed products. They're just very, very exclusive ones. Only you guys with the JRDF points can get them. Right, so that's that. Pisces foam. Little Pisces. So again, with the Pisces, we've got 2 in flight. These are actually C8Xs. They've got the extra guns under the wings. I think these are both the same, I think. And then these are actually C8, so 1 landed, 1 flight. So I say that's how we've got around the issues with the landing gear on these small ships, because there really wasn't a way of having interchangeable landing gear at 3 bases. There really wasn't a way of getting interchangeable landing gears on them. Let's make these foam pockets a little bit bigger for these bases. So this pack is so tight, I actually have to snap these off their print bases to get them in. This one, they're sort of like, I don't want to have to do a whole bigger pack just because it's got the bases in. What did we do with our... Did we even do the front sleeve? We totally didn't. Look at that. That's the Pisces. So I say 2 C8s and so that's cool. Yeah, so it's all getting there. But yeah, so apologies people. This has been an early stream and it won't be a long one because I really need to get sorted and get going down south. I say no stream Sunday because we're literally traveling. It's like, oh, will we make it back? It's like we would literally be walking through the door and pressing go on a stream that would never have worked. So no stream on Sunday. But I said that's the first stream we've missed since we're actually last down in Essex. So we have managed 2 a week, pretty much like clockwork, which I'm quite proud of myself for, actually. It's been fun spending so much time with you guys, and especially now we've got subs on and all that kind of stuff, and the greatest alerts now. And you haven't heard our alerts. I was listening to this true crimes podcast, and the bad guy on the true crimes podcast was called JR, and I was just wetting myself laughing. And I've clipped so many clips from this true crimes podcast for my alert sounds now. So I've got all the sort of followers and tips and subs and all have these amazing different audio files on. Makes me smile. So that's cool. Gonna have a bit of an upgrade to the stream as well. I know you guys have really been liking all the cameras. Like we had the cameras over there doing the casting and stuff. I was thinking, right, okay, how can I get this set up to be a bit smoother? It's also an issue that I can't do a lot of actual drawing and CAD and stuff because if my GPU or CPU or both gets tanked by my CAD, obviously the stream gets really badly affected. But I have another rig over there. I have my old rig that I have up here to run the laser and stuff. That's more than grunty enough to actually be a stream PC. There we go. So that's Pisces. So let's have a look. So we have Anvil Pisces and the Anvil Arrows as the little dioramas. And then we have Cutlass Black, Cutlass Red. We have Freelancer, Freelancer Max, and Freelancer Dirt, all in 1 to 500, all ready to go to CIG for their final sign-off. There we go. Happy days. Happy days. Right, so Carrack time. So I was looking and thinking, right, okay, if we're going to do this really, really well and kind of have more cameras, it's like, well, actually I've got loads of cameras. So I've got an old DSLR that we've used on stream before, and that actually worked quite nicely. I've got 2 of these cameras that I've got set up on my desk at the moment. I've also got this Sony Cyber, which you can use the HDMI out on to turn that in to capture that really nicely. So I've got 4 cameras that I can capture, and I've got 2 of these, the HD60S Pluses. But I'd also obviously have to capture this rig's 4K, which I can use the SD60 Plus for. But I was looking and I found the Elgato Camlink Pro, the one that has 4 HDMI ins. It's like, yeah, that would be awesome. So I might set a stream goal for buying one of those, because that would allow us to basically, I'll get that and another webcam, and that will allow us to have a dual camera setup, so kind of a wide angle or face cam and a wide angle here on my desk, so I can do some CAD. Over by the laser, so we can do some lasering. Over by the workshop table, so we do casting stuff, and the 3D print room, so we can actually do 3D print, show how all that works. So, or we can move those around or have it as a mobile camera, whatever. Basically, have like 7 cameras.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Bacchus Orison, for the follow and for triggering awesome follow sound. So I think we could definitely have a bit of a stream goal for one of those, and that would allow us to have buckets of cameras, so I can run around this workshop like a madman, doing live casting and building and all that kind of stuff. It's quite fun, and I know you guys have been enjoying watching the watching that stuff. Right, so let's do a quick sneaky unboxing here. It's not really an unboxing, so ignore this. This is a obviously failed. Hello, Bacchus Orison, sorry. welcome, welcome. This is a miss. It's not centered. Paul Jones had number 1 of the Trumbull Cyclone RC. The first 10 people to buy one of our kits when they are launched gets the personalized box. I say this one was a failure because it needed shifting over. So this is just one of my scrap boxes. So this is one of the things that you can use your JREX for, is actually doesn't matter what number you've got, you can have the personalized box done. So usually you just have the design fabrication lasered on it, but when you get this, you get all the tumbrel and all that kind of stuff. So that's cool. So this is the Carrack. Finally done the foam. So this is as it's going. Obviously no sleeve on this yet. So first layer in. So there'll be an envelope in here that has the instructions and the certificate of authenticity and the water slide decals and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be in a nice envelope there. And then I've done an Anvil Aerospace logo because I've got a little bit of room on this top layer. The sort of things underneath, you can't actually put stuff in some of these places because they're popping through the layer underneath. But I thought, yeah, actually doing an Anvil Aerospace logo would look pretty sweet. And then, so this is all the parts. It's quite a lot of bits to the Carrack. 68 pieces, I think, all told. Because I said there's lots of like options for turrets and stuff. This is a nice print. I like this print. So this has got the Ursa rover on it. It's got 2 Pisces, and it's got a weird little bit of resin in there. Away with you. One question. Go make Q models of the Carrack but bigger, 27 inches. Man, that would be huge. Yeah, that would be big. I mean, we could. Lies. I had 10 out of 500. Which model was it before we did that? Was it before I owned a laser, Drew? So like a 27-inch Carrack. This is a 10-inch Carrack. Oh, 10.5-inch Carrack, I think. So a 27-inch Carrack would near as damn it be a 1 to 200 Carrack. So a 1 to 200 Carrack would be massive, absolutely huge. So to give you an idea of just ballpark costings here, the 1 to 500 Carrack there, I worked out today, has got £36.50 in resin in it, right? So £36.50 in volume of resin. Let's say, for argument's sake, that the 27-inch is 1 to 200, just as a ballpark figure. So it's 2.5 times the length, nearly 3 times. Let's say 2.5 times the length, right? So that is, I'm going to have to get a calculator out. So if it's 2.5 times the length, that means it is 15.6 times the volume. Because obviously it's twice as long, or 2.5 times long, 2.5 times as wide, 2.5 times as tall. So if we say, let's say 15 times for argument's sake, instead of 15.6, and it was £36.50 of resin for this, just for the materials, just for the resin to print a Carrack at 1 to 200 is £547. So that's just the raw material before we've designed it, printed it, boxed it, shipped. It's like, so yeah, a 1 to 200 Carrack would be closer to £1,000, without a doubt. And that's the thing. These 3D printing is not a cheap production method. And it's yes, it's the way of getting this sort of detail and this sort of surface quality on something you're not making 100,000 of. But yeah, so to go to a 27-inch Carrack, you'd be over £500 of materials, which is scary. Right, so that Beautiful nose art. I love the nose. So pleased with these. So good. There's lots of magnets and... Oh, is this my Carrack stick with the magnets in? It totally is. It was in the box. Oh my god. The Carrack stick with the magnet in was in the box. Of course it was. Because I packed it. Oh, Cyclone. Interesting, Drew. You should have had one. What's the price for the Carrack? We're not 100% sure yet. So I say, literally today, I worked out how much the resin was going to cost. So now I need to work out what the print time average is out at. So I think I've pretty much got all that data now. So the way we need to work that out is we need to do all what we call our production prints. So we'll like get 6 of that print on a raft, check that works. Once they've all worked, we can then work out, right, how many hours does it average out at for the Carrack, and then we've got so much per hour for the print to use the printers, obviously. So that gets added on, then our license fee gets added on. Artwork wise, we still need to get the quotes through for the artwork. Obviously every time we do a new model, we have all 500 sets of artwork done, and they slowly creep up because everything does, especially with Brexit and everything. So yeah, so hopefully by the end of next week we will have all the quotes in and actually be able to say definitively how much the Carrack's going to be. It should be around the same price as the Cyclones, maybe a little bit more just because of this boy here. So these we're casting in-house, but it's the whole bridge section is cast inside it, so that's quite a lengthy process. So we've got our new master here with 5 noses on that I printed today. So we need to make silicon molds of all these, and we're going to make 7 silicon molds of this so that we can get 35 in the pot, and then hopefully do another set so we've got enough to do 75 casts a day. You know, allowing for failures, because there will be some failures on these casts. That should hopefully get us 50 to 60 noses a day. So, yeah, there's quite a lot to this one. So yeah, so it's not going to be hugely different to ones we've done before. It'll probably be the most expensive by a little bit, just because of that clear parts. And the fact that this is the first kit that has 2 massive prints in it. So we've got the fuselage pieces here are just both huge. This one takes 21 hours or 23 hours, I think, to print 3 of them. And this takes 18 hours to print 3 of them. So that's an awful lot of print time for 2 bloody parts of this kit. It's immense. Whereas usually before we have 1 part that's that big print, but now we've got 2. They have to invent 3D printed molds for injection. So right, so you can get high temperature resin for the formats printers. You can actually print injection molding dies. The surface quality isn't amazing on them, and they're quite difficult to. They also don't last very long either. They're mainly used for if you're going to have something injection molded. It allows you to 3D print a prototype to stick in the machine and check that it comes out the way you want it to come out, and then you would have the real one machined. The temperature and the speed at which these injection molding machines work would shred the 3D printed one after probably a couple of dozen hits, but that's all they're for. They're really just for proof of concept before they have the real tools made, because the real tools are, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of pounds to have made. I know the Citadel Miniatures ones are about $250,000. They're mad, but are awesome. And yeah, it comes back down to that whole, well, you know, if you're going to make 1 million of something, and take Warhammer for example, they do not put a new like Space Marine sprue or something on sale until they have 1 million units in every continent that they sell things on. That's their starting stock. It's like, holy shit, that's a lot of Space Marines. So we are many orders of magnitude away from that. with our paltry 500. And we don't even make them all at once. Couldn't afford to. But yeah, no, it's 3D. It's interesting. 3D printing, is it the way forward for manufacture? No, not. It's never going to replace, injection molding. For production, because people are never going to want to pay 3D printing prices. They're slow. 3D printers are epically slow. Even fast 3D printers are epically slow compared to injection molding machines that can literally push out a sprue every second. That's what you're up against. But 3D printing probably does have a place for this sort of merchandise, for games and TV series and stuff that don't have the following, like Star Wars, Star Trek type stuff, to allow you to actually mass produce something. Take the Expanse model they did. I know that was a Chinese-made one. The detail's not amazing on it, but yeah, it's they still had to make, I think, 10,000 of those to be able to actually get any molds done, and it was still $300-$400 or something. So I mean, it's not a cheap place to have a small amount of stuff made. That's for sure. I hope it flies off the shelf as well, Letzik. I really do. So many people have said, "Oh, love your models. Can't wait for the Carrack. I'll be buying a Carrack." And it's like, I believe them. I say we really want to start our Carrack with 100 on the shelf. That's the hope, is to start off with 100 of these guys. It's quite an easy model to build. I'm going to say that it's the only hard bit about it is the magnets. And as I say, I genuinely think that the magnets just require patience. We're going to do a specific magnet Carrack video as a build along video. With the intention of people pausing and pausing and pausing and pausing, so that you can literally build along and do the magnets right. I say there are 60 magnets to go in. Allow yourself a couple of hours, 2-3 hours to do them. Have a glass of something not too strong next to you when you do it. Yeah. We've got 6 minutes on the giveaway. We hope it flies off the shelf too. I say we're really proud of her. It's obviously our first 1 to 500 model, kit model. Obviously our cool little dioramas are coming out first. These are all going on sale in a week or so, because we're basically just waiting for the artwork, the actual real artwork, to arrive. Now that we've tested that these are all right, we can now push the button on that tomorrow morning. So this artwork takes about 10 days to have printed, and of course we've got 2,500 of them. We've got 500 of each, and there's 7, so 3,500 artwork coming. I'm curious what else people. So top requests we get in general. We do get a lot of requests for the F8 Lightning. We get a lot of requests for the Hornets. The Hornets are an odd one, because I think I'll do the Hornet F7C, because we know that that's kind of gold standard, whereas I don't really know what's happening with the other ones. The F8 isn't finished yet, I don't think. I still think they'll be tweaking that for Squadron. We get a lot of requests for the Idris. We get a lot of requests for the 890. The 890 is one of these ones that we really need to cast some of the body of it, because it is, by volume, 8 times the size of the Carrack. So she's a beast. I said, so the Super Hornet's an odd one. So I'm not a combat pilot. I'm not. I don't know enough about them. In my mind, at some point, CIG will replace the current Hornet, Super Hornet, Ghost, all those lot, with basically a civilian-y version of the F7C, because the current Hornet that's in game is so massively broken from a point of view of UI, way its landing gear works. All of this stuff is so antiquated now. I can see them staying in game as something to see in a museum. It belongs in a museum. But to actually have them keep them flyable, will be crazy. Pull 3 keys. Prospector. Well, the Prospector is definitely going to be a 1 to 500 model. Hopefully Q1 next year. That's the high on my list. I wanted the Prospector and the Mole. Now that we've got casting sorted, so things like we've always steered away from the Prospector because of its bubble canopy and stuff, but we'll probably approach it's because it doesn't open its bubble canopy in the same way that we've done the Carrack. So actually cast the cockpit inside a solid block, which would be really cool. So that's cool. Yeah, so 100 on the shelf means 23 hours times 100 divided by 3. So that's 32 days of printing just for the front of this fuselage, not the back as well, and all the other parts, just the front. So, yeah. That gives you an idea of what I go through my head at the moment, going, shit. Yeah. So we currently have 5 Form 2 printers and 2 Form 3 printers. Rough estimating gets some prints are on the 2, some prints are on the 3. Current reckoning to print 100 using 2 Form 2 printers, roughly speaking, will take 3.5 months. Solid printing. Which is obviously not as a little bit longer than people want to wait for the Carrack. So, how do we fix that? Westbrook Drew is part of our crew. He has a Form 3 printer, so one option is to get him to print as well, and we freight them over from the US. Again, we'll just get him printing like this front section. We could buy another printer. They're £4,000 each, so not something we can just have lying around. Ideally, 2 would be nice. That would up the thing, but again, £8,000, and by that point, we'd also need more washers and cures to be able to keep up with them. So yeah, just the production time on these is going to be a bit scary. If these guys sell well, then that will help us out, because if these guys sell well in a week or so's time, then that may be able to fund us being able to borrow money to get another printer on the shelf, maybe even 2, depending if they sell really well. And then that would make the Carrack quicker. So it might be down to the how long the Carrack is going to take to come out will depend on how many of these we sell. Because literally we are at the point of going, well, we could just put 60 on the shelf, is the other option. We just put less on the shelf because we just won't have time to print that many. But yeah, the Carrack is going to be a behemoth to print. And the thing to remember is that will be 3 months without us being able to print any other products. So, a lot of the other kits will come out of stock as well, because, there's like 50 arrows on the shelf at the moment, but there's only about 20 maxes, there's only about 20 freelancers. I think there's only 10 DERs at the moment on the shelf, because obviously we batch print stuff. So that would be us printing Carracks, nothing else, not having any other kits. Also means I can't do any prototyping for the next model for 3 months, because obviously I need to print on the same printers, so I can't do any prototyping. It's a big thing, it's a really big thing. And it's very easy when you're a small company that's growing to basically have a really good drive of sales and end up spending all of your money on equipment to grow your business. Brilliant. Doesn't pay the mortgage, doesn't pay the bills, doesn't put food on the table. You've got more printers. Whoop-de-doo. Do you know what I mean? It's like not actually making any profit. We're just buying more equipment. Formlabs is making lots of money. But yeah, so yeah, we've got that. And when you think there's £36 worth of resin per kit, so we're going to have to buy at least £4,000 worth of resin just to print those 100 Carracks. So there's that we know we're going to have to purchase ahead of time. So yeah, we're looking to get the Carrack on the shelf in under 6 weeks from when we start printing. We'd need to be investing about £12,000 into the business to be able to get us to that point. the profit for selling 100 Carracks will not be that much. So, so again, it's that whole, the break-even point for the Carrack. If we bought 2 printers to help with the production run, we wouldn't be breaking even till we'd sold about 250 of them. And that's without that's a break-even point, not considering my time that I've taken to draw it. That's just on the equipment that we would have purchased and the resin we would have purchased to get those 100 on the shelf in a quicker time. So, yeah, it's it's one of those things. It is one of those things. And I say I would quite like to do another 1-to-100 fighter. I'd quite like to get on with the MSR and stuff. But obviously, I can start drawing it, but I can't start test printing anything until the characters are done. So, just putting product on the shelf will slows everything else down. So, right. So let's pick a winner. 100 JRX on the line. Boom. I swear to God that I think Drew is. I'm going to pick another winner. I hope you don't mind, Drew. It's so rigged. I'm quite happy to give away more JRX. It's fine. Paul 3 keys. That's better. Not that I have anything against Westbrook Drew. I don't want people to think that. But he's a principal part of our company. So it's basically us giving points to ourselves in our made-up fucking currency. Pseudo staff should be banned from entering. Exactly right. No, it's fine. The thing is with Drew buys our models like with his own money, and then buys models and then gives them away. So I'm never going to be grudge him things because he only gives stuff away anyway. But congratulations, Paul 3 keys. If you could message me the email address that you have your JR Fabrication account with, or your real name, just so I can easily find you in the Shopify system to give you your points, that'd be absolutely amazing, and I shall get that done this evening. Short but sweet stream. As I say, we've got a lot of packing to do and got to leave and all this kind of stuff, but we've got these done. That was the task for tonight, was to get this done and maybe do some magnets on the Carrack. We haven't got around to that, so we've been just talking Carrack. So this is an interesting thing, Letzig. We're not allowed to do crowdfunding. It's specifically in our license agreement, master license agreement with Star Citizen, that they do not allow us to do crowdfunding. The irony is not lost on me that the world's largest crowdfunding project doesn't like other people doing crowdfunding projects. But to be fair, it is a completely standard clause to have in master license agreements for merchandise, so it's not a surprise that we're not allowed to do it. Resonante that was licensed to The Expanse was done by crowdfunding, and that's quite uncommon. So was the Mandalorian one. So perhaps it's the Razor Quest, and that was Razor Crest, and that was done by Hasbro's HasLab. But so, I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. Crowdfunding model would be fantastic. A fantastic way of doing it. So again, interestingly, Shopify gift cards, we don't get the money until the gift card is spent. So it's like, damn. It's like, damn it. So yeah, even if you buy a gift card, it doesn't help us. I know, right? It's like they're trying to make money. It's just one of those things. I mean, don't get me wrong. We are now at the stage. The reason that we don't do pre-selling anymore is that, I mean, we could do pre-sales. There's nothing stopping us doing it. We just don't want to do it because it's very stressful. And we don't like taking your money before we've got something to give you. That's just a personal thing. Now, we've had to do it in the past. We're now at the stage where we can bankroll the next model pretty much. We've got enough sloshing around now. Each model gets us closer to that. We also have more product on the shelf, So the average sales are higher. The arrow selling really well at the moment. We've got number 330 something on the shelf, ready to get sold. So I mean, it's going to be not too long before all the arrows are gone. So that's quite scary. Really want to have another 1-100 fighter on the shelf before the arrow sells out, because otherwise it's going to look quite sad. But yeah, so we can get the Carrack on the shelf. I think the issue we have at the moment is we'd sort of worked out financially, right? We've got the money to buy the resin to put the Carrack on the shelf, but now we've done the maths and worked out how long it's going to take us to do it. That's where it's starting to get sticky again, because it's like, yeah, we could really do to find $8,000 to buy 2 new printers, because and all that's actually doing is saving us perhaps 6 weeks. So it's a case of, should we be doing that? Should we just be going, no, it's going to take 3 months to print them? Do you know what I mean? It's that people aren't going to like it. It's going to slow down everything else. But yeah, like I say, it's a tricky one. So we've got 50 of each of these already printed. So there's 250 of these 1 to 500 dioramas ready to go in these boxes when the artwork comes back. So we've got some decent amount of product there. As soon as JC has seen the Carrack and signed that off, we can start printing. That's when the button will be pressed on that. And I say we've got Drew as an option. We've got we've got the option of buying more. But yeah, we just got to make that. We just got to be careful. It's a fine line, exactly. It's a fine line between getting a model that people have waited a long time for anyway out to people a month earlier, but it's basically cost us all our profit for 2 months. So it's yes, and okay, we still then have a larger production capability because we have more machinery, and that's fine if the sales carry on at that level. Brilliant. We'd need them anyway. Fantastic. It was a fantastic investment, but there's no point investing to expand our production capability for a blip of sales when we launch a model. That's what we're dealing with in the fact that we need to, at the moment, the way that our sales go is we launch something or we have a drive from CIG, we get a spike, and then it flattens back all the way down to, half a model a day, something like that, and then we get another spike, and we can't invest based on the spikes. We need to see when the spike drops again, we need to be getting to the 2 to 3 models a day. And obviously that's helped when we have more product out there and all the rest of it. It's a fascinating balancing act, and one I'd never expected to do. I expected to be in the events industry for my life. I was quite happy with that idea before events disappeared. but yeah, it's quite it's a far more different formula than events. I mean, in events, you have the equipment you have the personnel that you have, and you can work out in the amount of time between now and the event, which is a date that cannot be moved, what you can produce. Added to that is, well, if you want more than that produced, you have to actually, that's in the client, has to actually foot the bill for extra staff, contractors obviously, which obviously use a lot in the events industry, and equipment. If say we were to do a project that required a second CNC machine, that client will be buying us a CNC machine to do that project. We would literally pass that cost on for that one job. And obviously that will put 40 grand onto the job cost, but that's what it will cost for us to do it. I mean, it's that whole thing of, we didn't want another CNC machine, but we'll need one to do what you want us to do, therefore you have to buy us one. And that's just how it works. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we can't do it in that amount of time. They either have to have, the job has to get smaller or whatever. And that's why for companies to try and plan a little bit ahead to give us more time to build stuff is always good. But a lot of the time, these things are always last minute in the events industry. Yes, there are other companies we go and hire one for a bit. Last time I hired a workshop with a CNC machine was £175 a day. So it's like, and then I had to pay people to man it. So by the time you've added 125 quid a day on for your operator, £300 a day just to be able to use someone else's CNC machine. Yeah, it's scary expensive. these things. So you don't want to be putting 3 months worth of work into someone else's shop, because, and again, why does it cost that much? Well, because while you're hiring their shop out, they can't make any money because they can't make anything. So you're having to effectively pay what they would need to receive to not be doing a job. So the events industry is very different. Here we don't have hard deadlines, so we can move the launch date to better suit the investment, where the events you can't. Date is the date. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you build the best trade stand in the world has ever seen. If it arrives the day after the event, you are fired and you are being sued. It's like you failed because it wasn't there on the event. So yeah. Right, cool. Thank you very much, everyone, for dropping in and taking part and asking questions. Any final questions, please throw it in. I am going to just have a quick look at who we could raid. We'll raid Burke Black. You can tell him all about who I am, and I'm going to go and pack bags and start heading down south. But yeah, so yeah, no stream Sunday. Will do, mate. No stream on Sunday, because I say we will literally. I don't think we'll be back for the right time. So next Wednesday, a week from today, we will be back and trying to get some more cameras and stuff set up by then, and we shall be casting. So we'll take this master and make some hexagonal casts. I might have done a few already, but I said we need to make 7 of these. So we take 7 silicon casts of this master. So that's cool. So we can get that done. And I don't really know what else we'll be doing. Like, genuinely, the Carrack has now passed me, so we can either get on with the next model, or we could. I'd actually quite like to finish the Covalex unit. I think that's what we'll be back doing. We're doing the Covalex unit and the Pirates of the Caribbean coin. So that's cool. Excellent. I shall see you all then. Have a fantastic weekend. I won't see you over the weekend, but have a fantastic weekend. And I shall see all you lovely people next week. Night.